Welcome to Vanguard, where humans aren't the underdogs. We're the endgame. Enjoy the journey. The twin suns of Thermin 7 beat down like cosmic hammers, turning the planet's surface into a baking sheet. Waves of shimmering heat danced above the dusty ground, warping the ragtag lines of the black market stalls into surreal mirages. Alien vendors barked in a dozen languages, hustling illegal engine parts, semi-sentient jewelry, and dubious snacks that glowed in colors not meant for digestion. The whole place stank of oil ozone and unwashed ambition. And in the middle of it all, stretched like a corpse under a melted tarp, lay Ray Dorman. His makeshift bed was a masterpiece of junkyard engineering. Repurposed crates, parts of an old crash harness, and what may have once been the wing flap of a mining drone. He snored softly, a thin line of drool catching on the frayed collar of his faded yellow jacket, his only real possession of value. To Ray, though it wasn't just a jacket, it was a pillow, a blanket, a rain shield, a nap signal, and a portable statement of "please don't bother me." Ray Dorman didn't live on Thermin 7. He survived it through a carefully honed routine of strategic laziness, opportunistic snacking, and industrial strength apathy. He had no interest in galactic politics, ancient relics, or whatever new cult thought the stars whispered their name. All he cared about was finding just enough shade to sleep through the heat and just enough credits to buy his beloved thermo sausages. Unfortunately for Ray, even napping required diplomacy on Thermin 7. "Hey, lazy human, you promised those sausages by noon," came a gravelly shout. Ray didn't stir. A sharp kick to the crate jolted him slightly. 5 more minutes, he muttered from under his jacket. "You said that 2 hours ago," roared Grox, the local reptilian meat vendor. With forearm scales like cracked obsidian and the temperament of a caffeinated rhino, Grox was not someone to disappoint lightly. He slammed a heavy fist against the corner post, shaking Ray's sad excuse for a canopy. "I'm telling you, your customers can wait another hour." "Quality takes time," my scaly friend Ray mumbled, not even lifting his head. "Quality?" Grox hissed, his tongue flicking out in disgust. "You're selling glow meat that smells like a corpse's regret." Ray finally sat up, his hair flattened in one direction and his shirt stained from what might have been both sweat and cheese sauce. "Not glow meat, thermo sausages. And they're not expired, they've just been temporarily separated from refrigeration." Grox rolled all 4 of his yellow eyes and stormed off, cursing in his native language. Ray didn't take offense. Grox had threatened to strangle him with his own intestines at least 3 times this week. It was practically a friendship at this point. Ray reached for his cooler, a rusted dented thing older than the average asteroid belt, and pulled out a glowing orange sausage. It sizzled faintly in the heat, but he bit into it with a look of pure bliss. "Breakfast of champions," he mumbled with his mouth full. This was the life modest crime minimal movement, maximum relaxation. His home was a hollowed-out cargo pod at the edge of the marketplace, decorated with faded pinups of interstellar starships, and one motivational poster that read, "Ambition is a dangerous side effect." Ray had stopped reading after ambition. Life to him wasn't about chasing glory. It was about not chasing anything at all. As the midday heat grew unbearable, the marketplace began to thin. Even the most desperate vendors retreated into their stalls or shaded corners. Ray stretched out, wiped his hands on his pants, and flopped back into his nap position. "This is it," he sighed. "Perfect nap conditions." And then the shadow fell. Ray ignored it. Shadows meant people. People meant talking. And talking meant not napping. "Excuse me," came a voice, soft, melodic, and very not from around here. Ray kept his jacket over his face. "If you're from the Galactic Revenue Service, I don't exist. If you're selling something, I don't want it. And if you're giving away free food, please step into the light and bless me." "I was told you know your way around this sector," she continued. "Try the employment center," Ray mumbled, waving vaguely. "It's somewhere in that direction." "I'll pay handsomely." He sighed. "Lady, unless you're offering credits and a cold drink, I'm not getting up." "Then perhaps this will change your mind." The jacket was yanked from his face. Ray opened one eye and every sarcastic comment he'd lined up disintegrated on his tongue. Standing above him was a woman, an alien being unlike anything he'd ever seen. Her skin shimmered violet, not painted or dyed, but glowing with an inner light. Her eyes sparkled silver-freckled, with what looked like miniature constellations. Her body was wrapped in a tight bodysuit that shifted colors like spilled oil, clinging to a figure that screamed divine genetics. "You are Ray Dorman?" she asked. Her voice had the cadence of nobility, but with a hint of irritation as though she expected more. Ray blinked. Huh. She tilted her head. "You are shorter than I expected." "I'm taller when I'm standing," he replied, automatically still seated. "I am Lexa Zaire of the Astral Nebula Confederation." "Cool, I'm Ray. I sell glowing meat sticks and nap professionally." Lexa narrowed her eyes. "I seek someone who can navigate the black markets of this system. Unseen, efficient." Ray groaned. "That sounds like work." Lexa didn't flinch. Instead, she stepped forward and with an air of total seriousness thrust her chest toward him. Ray recoiled, nearly tumbling off his crates. "What the hell are you doing?" "This is how we greet potential allies in my culture," she said. "You must acknowledge my melons." Ray choked. "Your what?" "Melons. It is the correct translation." Ray looked at her chest, then at her face, then back at her chest. "You want me to greet them?" She nodded solemnly. "Or I will be forced to duel you for honor." Ray paused, rubbed his temples, and then channeling every ounce of apathy into diplomacy waved lazily at her chest. "Hello, Melons. Nice to meet you." She blinked. "That is not how most respond." Ray shrugged. "Lady, I've seen weirder stuff before breakfast." And then the sky above ripped open. The tear in the sky split reality like shattered glass, revealing a swirling vortex of shadowed light above the marketplace. It looked as though the universe had opened a bleeding eye, one filled with cosmic fury and ancient purpose. The few remaining vendors scrambled away, abandoning stalls, credits, and pride, as a pulse of unnatural wind swept through the bazaar, sending debris and cursed merchandise flying. Ray blinked up at the sky, still chewing the last bit of his thermosausage. "Well, that's new." Lexa didn't hesitate. "Move," she shouted, lunging to the side just as a blinding object tore through the atmosphere, trailing golden light like a divine meteor. Ray's response was unique. His body, finely tuned by years of avoiding effort, went full defense mode. It shut down. He yawned deep, instinctive, and began to nod off, standing up. It was as if the presence of mortal danger was a lullaby to his evolutionary programming. The object slammed into Ray's chest with a soundless boom, not with the violence of impact, but like a puzzle piece snapping into place. He was thrown back, skidding across the dusty ground. The glowing orb, now embedded in his sternum, pulsed with light. It didn't bruise or bleed, it just merged. For a long, breathless second, nothing happened. Then the screaming started. Golden light burst from Ray's eyes and mouth. The ground cracked beneath him. The canopy collapsed. The vibration shattered market stalls. A pulse of power radiated outward in circular waves, blowing out energy cells and shorting ancient tech. One of Grox's frozen squid dogs exploded in its cart. Ray's limbs convulsed. His voice was lost in the blinding brilliance as the orb, later called the chronosphere, announced its new bearer to the cosmos. Lexa, stunned, stumbled toward him as the tremors slowly died down. Her skin, normally a deep violet, had paled to a lavender hue. She fell to her knees beside him. "No, not now, not you," she whispered, voice trembling. Ray collapsed. Darkness swallowed him, but it wasn't sleep. It was something cosmic. He dreamed. Not dreams of burgers or nap spots, but of ancient civilizations born in the ashes of stars, of celestial beings shaping galaxies like children molding clay, of power flowing through time like a river with no beginning, of bearers, warriors, philosophers, tyrants, each chosen, each changed. The last of them had died millennia ago. And now the sphere had picked him. Somewhere in that infinite dreamscape, a voice, soft, feminine, annoyingly insistent, whispered, "Wake up, bearer." Ray's eyes fluttered open. He was inside a dimly lit tent lined with alien silks, strange artifacts, and a strange reddish glow filtering through the canvas. He was on a mound of cushions, softer than anything he had laid on since that one time he passed out in a diplomat's hot tub. His chest throbbed not with pain, but with something deeper. A weight, a presence. He looked down and gasped. The orb was still there, embedded in his sternum, not attached, merged. Its golden surface shimmered with shifting geometric patterns as if telling stories in a language too old to be remembered. What the hell? Ray grabbed at it. A pulse of energy shot up his arm like liquid fire. Don't, came Leeks' voice. She was beside him, grabbing his wrist firmly. You'll die. Well, I feel great already, he snapped. Chest-mounted artifact of doom. Thanks for the upgrade, space lady. Leeksa didn't flinch. That is the chronosphere, an ancient relic of unimaginable power. It hasn't chosen a bearer in over 10,000 years. Well, it chose wrong, Ray grunted. I didn't sign up to glow like a lava lamp. You were chosen by prophecy. Ray blinked. I'm sorry, did you say prophecy? Leeksa nodded. The bearer shall merge with the sphere beneath twin suns. A witness shall watch, and the bond of light shall seal the union. She gestured to herself. I am the witness. You are the bearer. We are now husband and wife. Ray choked. Excuse me. It is the sacred union of flesh in power, Leeksa explained. Now that the sphere has bonded to you, we are joined by cosmic law. I don't care what your scrolls say. I just met you literally today. Also, I was eating. Leeksa tilted her head. The text mentioned the bearer would possess an eternal hunger. That's not prophecy. That's just me being broke and craving meat too. He sat up swaying, the tent spun. I don't do cosmic unions or fated destinies. I do naps, occasional hustles, and breakfast for dinner. Get this thing out of me, and we can annul whatever divine Vegas wedding we just had. Leeksa's face softened slightly. You may not believe in the prophecy, but the sphere does. And it has already begun to change you. As if to punctuate her point, the ground trembled. Ray stumbled to his feet. Oh no, not again. Leeksa dashed to the entrance, peering outside. Her body tensed. They found us. Ray grabbed his jacket, pulling it over his chest with a wince. The orb pressed against the fabric, sending faint pulses of warmth through him. Who's they? The cult of eternal flame. They believe the sphere belongs to them. They've hunted it for centuries, and now they'll hunt you. Ray looked down at himself. No weapon, half a sausage still in his pocket, one cosmic orb in his chest. He sighed. All I wanted was a nap. Leeksa was already moving, packing alien tech into a bag with military precision. We need to leave. Wait, Ray said, motioning toward the glowing lump in his chest. You still haven't told me what this thing really is. I mean, yeah, rewrite reality sounds cool, but like, are we talking delete people from existence or make infinite cheeseburgers level? Leeksa paused. The chronosphere can bend the laws of physics, open wormholes, collapse star systems, rewrite memories. In the wrong hands, it could unmake reality itself. Ray stared. Oh, good. Because if anyone's qualified for that, it's a guy whose job title is literally freelance napper. A second explosion rocked the ground. Outside, shouts in a language of fire echoed. They're here, Leeksa said grimly, and they won't stop. Ray's stomach growled again. Fine, he grumbled. We run, but we get food on the way. Leeksa blinked. The prophecy also spoke of, no more prophecies, he snapped. Just snacks. We're fugitives now. Fugitive rule number 1, never run on an empty stomach. And so as the cult descended upon the marketplace, the new bearer of the chronosphere, clutching his sacred jacket and his half-eaten sausage, slipped into the alleys of Thurman 7. He didn't know it yet, but history had just shifted, and reality had officially become Ray Dorman's problem. The back alleys of Thurman 7 were a maze of dripping coolant pipes, flickering neon signs, and graffiti written in at least 4 dead languages. Ray Dorman, Galactic napper turned artifact bearer, dashed through them at what could generously be called a tired shuffle. His jacket flapped open with every lurching step, barely concealing the glowing orb embedded in his chest. Leeksa ran ahead with inhuman grace, her violet form gliding over crates and leaping over puddles of radioactive sludge as if she were born for this. She probably was. Ray, meanwhile, tripped over a misplaced vibrospanner, yelped and face-planted into a pile of something squishy and questionably alive. The bearer must remain upright, Lieksa called, not looking back. The bearer's doing his best not to die of exhaustion. Ray snapped, spitting out a feather from whatever mutant he'd landed on. Behind them, the chants of the cult of eternal flame echoed louder, deeper, full of ritualistic hunger. The bearer must be cleansed. The sphere must return to the fire. Ray groaned. Can't we just explain to them that the thing chose me and I didn't ask for this cosmic tinder swipe? Lieksa rounded a corner and paused beside a rusted security door. There's no reasoning with zealots who believe the universe speaks only to them. Ray caught up, panting. That's just Twitter with extra steps. With a hiss, the panel slid open, revealing a narrow tunnel that reeked of rust and old coolant. They slipped inside, sealing it behind them just as the cult's footsteps reached the alley. Silence. Darkness. And then Ray's stomach growled like a dying space whale. Lieksa turned. Seriously, I burn cosmic energy now, remember, he said defensively. High metabolism is a side effect of godhood. She sighed and rummaged in her satchel, pulling out a protein bar wrapped in alien script. Here, eat this. Ray sniffed it. Is this edible, or will it give me visions of my ancestors? Both, she said. They kept moving. As the tunnel curved upward, Ray finally asked, okay, real question. What exactly is this prophecy you keep dropping into conversation like it's some romantic icebreaker? Lieksa didn't stop walking. It's one of the oldest known texts in the Astral Nebula Confederation. It speaks of the chronosphere awakening from its slumber when the stars align, choosing a bearer who can wield it without succumbing to corruption. Right. And that bearer is... Ray deadpanned. You, she said, glancing back. The one who fell asleep while it fell from the sky. He threw up his hands. How is that even heroic? It said, the one who sleeps in the fire shall awaken the gods of passion. I was not sleeping in fire. I was dozing in the sun. Lieksa shrugged. Interpretations vary. Ray sighed and bit into the protein bar. It tasted like compressed sadness. They emerged from the tunnel into a bustling spaceport hub packed with aliens of every shape and size. Ray immediately yanked his jacket tighter, but the glow from the orb still pulsed beneath it. Lieksa scanned the area. We need a ship. Ray pointed toward a nearby noodle stand. We need lunch. Ray, look, Your Highness, he said, already walking. I'm not flying through space with the universe's most wanted artifact in my chest while hangry. That's how planets get accidentally vaporized. Lieksa followed reluctantly. The vendor was a tiny six-armed creature with a grease-streaked apron and a cheerful glint in her multifaceted eyes. She didn't even blink when Ray walked up, glowing like a malfunctioning reactor. One extra large, he said, and maybe something fried and questionable on the side. The vendor nodded. Good choice. You want it spicy or psychotic? Surprise me. Lieksa tugged his sleeve. We shouldn't stay long. Ray slurped noodles like a man who just survived 5 consecutive heart attacks. This is the first good decision I've made all day. The vendor tilted her head. That thing in your chest, it's humming at a very particular frequency. Ray choked on a noodle. You can hear them. Sweetie, she said, I used to date a quantum smuggler. I've heard everything. Lieksa stepped forward, tense. How much do you know? The vendor wiped her hands and leaned in. Enough to tell you that if you don't get off this planet in the next 10 hours, the entire cult of eternal flame will turn this port into ash just for a chance to find him. Great, Ray mumbled. Can't even digest in peace. The vendor handed over a data chip. Docking Bay 17, there's a courier ship with a pilot who owes me a favor. Tell her Nick sent you. Ray blinked. Nick. The vendor winked. Short for Nix Thrallin, the Eternal Observer. But let's keep that between us. Lieksa's eyes widened, but the vendor was already helping the next customer. As they moved away from the stand, Ray whispered, was that what I think it was? An eternal observer, Lieksa said. She watches the threads of fate from the edges of time. They don't just appear. She sells noodles. Lieksa looked back over her shoulder. She's probably broadcasting this entire conversation to 1 trillion viewers across the multiverse. Ray paused mid-step. I'm on Galactic reality TV. Possibly. Ray sighed. Then I hope they got my good side when the artifact exploded my rib cage. They reached Docking Bay 17 just as the port began lockdown procedures. Sirens blared. Red lights flashed. Something big had arrived in orbit. They're here, Lexa said. Ray looked up at the sky. Let me guess. Not your people coming to rescue us with warm towels and foot rubs. No, she said grimly. The cult has brought a dreadnought. Ray stared at her. Who brings a dreadnought to hunt one guy in a jacket? You don't understand, Lexa said, spinning to face him. You're not just the bearer, you're the last bearer. If you die, the sphere could choose them next. Ray's hands went cold. Then we better make it to this ship, he muttered, because I am not letting a bunch of robe-wearing flame addicts rewrite the universe. They entered the docking bay just as blaster fire echoed in the distance. The courier ship ahead was beat up asymmetrical and vaguely held together with faith and duct tape, but its engines were humming. And standing at the top of the ramp was Nyx, no longer a noodle vendor, but clad in shimmering black armor, her eyes glowing like twin galaxies. You came, she said. Ray gawked. Of course we came. You're the only person offering a ride and you make excellent broth. Nyx smirked. Then let's not waste time. Behind them, the sky shook. The chase had truly begun. The interior of the courier vessel was a paradox. From the outside, it looked like a derelict trash hauler held together by hope and spare parts. Inside, however, it gleamed with quiet power. Sleek panels hummed softly, and the cockpit pulsed with readings in languages Ray couldn't even fake understanding. It was like someone had jammed a luxury shuttle into a trash compactor and forgotten to update the exterior. Nyx moved through the ship with the ease of someone used to command her shimmering black armor, molding to her form like liquid shadow. Ray collapsed into a padded chair near the nav console, still panting. He hadn't run that much since high school gym class, if you could call hiding behind bleachers running. So, he said between breaths, just to confirm, you're not a noodle vendor. Nyx gave a soft chuckle. I was for 2 years. Best disguise I've ever worn. Also surprisingly fulfilling. Ray blinked. You're telling me an eternal observer, some sort of god-tier fate tracker, was actually slinging soup and dumplings for minimum wage? It kept me humble, she replied smoothly, and close to where I needed to be. Let me guess, that'd be me. Nyx stopped, turned to face him. Her expression softened, though her eyes still swirled like distant quasars. Yes. The moment the chronosphere reactivated, I felt it. It doesn't just choose a bearer, it reshapes the very paths of possibility. And every path now bends around you. Ray looked down at his chest. The orb was still there, embedded but warm. Its glow no longer painful but unsettling, like carrying a purring nuclear bomb under his ribs. So, fate actually has a sense of humor, he muttered. Lexa sat beside him, her posture still regal, despite the chaos they'd just escaped. This is serious, Ray. The sphere changes everything. You've been chosen. We're past denial. Denial, I'm embracing this, Ray said, lifting a hand. I mean, look at me. I've been abducted, married by prophecy, hunted by pyromaniacs, and now I'm the cosmic linchpin of reality. That's classic Tuesday in my life. Nyx raised a brow. You're taking this better than most. Oh no, I'm panicking, internally, Ray said. But I'm also hungry again and panic burns calories. He stood wobbling slightly and began pacing. All right, Nyx, you clearly know more than you're letting on. Let's lay it all out. What is the chronosphere? Why me? And what does the universe expect me to do with this thing? Start a religion, launch a war, sell reality-altering NFTs. Nyx didn't answer immediately. Instead, she keyed in a sequence on the console, dimming the lights. A 3D holosphere shimmered into existence, hovering above the room's center. Galaxies spun, time flowed like liquid threads, and then a single point of golden light flared. The chronosphere is one of 7 primordial constructs, Nyx said, her voice low, almost reverent. Created before time was counted, when the universe was still raw, young, and volatile. Who made it? Ray asked. No one knows, she replied. The ancient texts suggest the constructs are older than the gods' artifacts designed to guide the fate of existence. Each one contains the ability to bend a fundamental law, time, matter, causality, entropy, even choice. And this one, Lexa asked. Nyx pointed to the orb glowing in Ray's chest. The chronosphere governs reality itself, the architecture of everything. It doesn't just change rules, it rewrites the canvas. Ray stared. So basically, I've got a cosmic code editor plugged into my rib cage. In crude terms, yes. Awesome, Ray said, then sat back down and rubbed his temples. Totally not terrifying at all. Nick circled the hologram. But the sphere is not obedient. It doesn't follow logic or demand. It chooses a bearer not for their strength, but for their nature. Which is why I believe it chose you. Why, he asked almost offensively. I'm not a warrior, I'm not wise, I'm not even punctual. Exactly, Nick said. Lexa tilted her head. You're saying his apathy is a virtue. I'm saying, Nyx replied, that every previous bearer has sought to control the sphere. They tried to use it for peace, power, perfection, and in every case they failed. The sphere doesn't want to be a weapon. It wants to be trusted. And Ray is the first bearer in millennia who doesn't want anything from it at all. Ray stared, so the secret to godhood was just not caring. Not caring to control, Nyx clarified. There's a difference. Ray leaned back. I'm not sure whether to be proud or deeply disturbed. Try both, Lexa said dryly. A beeping interrupted them. Nyx turned back to the nav console. They're scanning. The Colt's dreadnought is actively sweeping for our signature. Ray stood. Time to panic. Time to hide, Nyx said. She tapped a few controls and the ship dipped into a deeper level of stealth mode. Energy readings dropped, external panels shifted color, and the whole vessel seemed to fold into the background of space. As tension settled over them, Ray wandered to a corner of the ship with a reclining chair and a viewport showing the swirling gas fields of a nearby nebula. He flopped down and sighed. So this is my life now. Fugitive god, universe on my back, no insurance. Lexa joined him quiet for a while. It doesn't have to be a burden, you know. He looked at her. She hesitated, then said, the sphere hasn't just awakened. It's learning, feeling, through you. That's horrifying, Ray muttered. No, she said softly. It's hopeful. Maybe it's tired of power. Maybe it wants peace. Maybe it chose you to teach it. He blinked. You think I'm supposed to be some kind of a cosmic role model? I think she said you are more important than you know. He fell silent, eyes locked on the stars. Eventually, she left him to his thoughts. As the ship drifted into the dark side of the nebula, Ray closed his eyes. Sleep came fast, heavy, full of the kind of exhaustion that followed chaos. But the dreams returned. He stood in a sea of nothing. Galaxies floated like petals on a pond. The stars sang. Beings of light moved around him, ancient bearers of the sphere, their eyes filled with judgment. Why you? They asked in a single shared voice. Ray stared back, then shrugged. Honestly, I was just trying to finish lunch. The bearers vanished one by one, laughing, and the sphere pulsed once in his chest, not with power but amusement. Ray smiled in his sleep. Somehow the universe was beginning to understand him. The silence aboard Nyx's stealth vessel was almost holy. No alarms, no scanners, no dreadnoughts breathing down their necks, just the quiet hum of the engines and the slow swirl of distant stars outside the window. Ray lay sprawled across the ship's observation couch, the glow from the chronosphere casting faint golden patterns on the walls around him. For once, his head wasn't pounding, and the orb wasn't trying to rewrite gravity when he sneezed. It was peaceful. Naturally, he was suspicious. Lexa approached, her posture both graceful and oddly tense, like a diplomat preparing to walk into a minefield of cultural misunderstandings. You're awake, she said softly, sitting beside him. Ray cracked one eye open, barely. But yeah, no cultists, no explosions, no prophecies being shouted from rooftops. That's what 6 whole hours of calm new record. Lexa didn't smile. Instead, she reached into a compartment and pulled out a small crystalline scroll. It projected a rotating triangle of alien script above it, glowing runes dancing around a central symbol, the chronosphere. I think we should begin the triad of unity, she said. Ray sat up slowly, staring at the scroll. I'm sorry, that sounds like either a bad workout program or some kind of cosmic marriage counseling. What's the actual deal? It's a sacred bonding ritual, she explained, meant to synchronize the bearer and the witness. It's how previous pairings achieve full harmony with the artifact. Ray scratched his head. Does it involve punching things? No. Then I'm interested. Go on. Lixa looked embarrassed. A first. Her lavender cheeks darkened slightly. The triad consists of three components, each meant to symbolize a primal force of mortal experience. Let me guess, Ray said, holding up a finger. Fury, sacrifice, transcendence. Lixa shook her head. The yawn, the burger, and the closeness. There was a long pause. Ray blinked. I'm sorry. What? Their metaphors, Lixa insisted, clearly trying to maintain decorum. Ancient texts often hide profound truths beneath mundane imagery, but in this case, well, it turns out your natural behavior patterns are in perfect alignment. He leaned back. So you're saying that by doing what I already do, I can unlock cosmic enlightenment? In theory. Okay, so walk me through this, he said, rubbing his temples. The yawn symbolizes surrender, letting go, trusting the universe to carry you. In your case, actual yawning will suffice. Ray yawned on command. Lixa nodded. Step one complete. Ray held up a second finger, the burger. The second trial reflects nourishment, pleasure without guilt. The bearer must accept their cravings as part of their nature, not something to deny. Ray dug into his jacket pocket and pulled out a wrapped burger he'd stashed earlier, probably stolen from the ship's snack unit. With reverence normally reserved for royal decrees, he unwrapped it and took a slow, intentional bite. Lixa watched in utter silence as he chewed. Ray raised an eyebrow mid-bite. This is weirdly intimate now. It's part of the process, she whispered. He finished chewing and wiped his hands on his pants. All right, that's two down. Lixa took a breath, then spoke quietly. The final trial is closeness. Ray coughed. You mean emotional closeness, right? He said, suddenly aware of how warm the ship felt. No, she said, gaze unwavering. Physical closeness, intimacy. It's the final bond, the ritual of joining. Witness and bearer become truly aligned only when the boundary between them vanishes. Ray stared at her. Wait, are you saying? The prophecy says, in heat shall they unite, and through union the chronosphere shall calm. Ray laughed. It started as a snort, then evolved into full-on wheezing. Lixa narrowed her eyes. You find this amusing? I find it suspiciously convenient, he said, catching his breath. We're fugitives with the fate of the universe in my chest, and now the ancient texts want us to hook up. She crossed her arms. It's not about desire, it's about connection. Well, you didn't say no, he noted, suddenly aware that his heart was beating faster. The chronosphere pulsed in his chest, almost in sync with that racing rhythm. Lixa's gaze softened. Ray, you may act indifferent, but the artifact chose you. Not for your strength or your wisdom, but for your authenticity. That kind of truth needs a tether, and I am your tether. Ray looked at her, really looked. Lixa, the elegant alien warrior, violet skin, glowing faintly in the dim cabin light. She wasn't just some cosmic messenger anymore. She'd saved his life, fought beside him, watched him snore through starbound disasters, and still hadn't walked away. And somehow, she believed in him, which made her officially the craziest person in the galaxy. But still he moved closer. I can't promise I'll be the hero everyone wants, he said. You're not supposed to be, she replied. Just be the one who never pretends to be something he's not. Their hands found each other. Her skin was cool, his warm. The chronosphere glowed brighter, not violently, but with a steady pulse like a heartbeat finally matching its counterpart. Then everything melted away. The stars outside kept spinning. The dreadnoughts kept scanning. The galaxy kept turning in its chaos. But in that moment inside that tiny stolen ship, Ray and Lixa completed the triad of unity through laughter, shared breath, and something ancient and soft that no prophecy had quite captured. Afterward, as Ray dozed beside her under a blanket made from Nyx's cloaked curtains, he murmured, if step 4 is get brunch, I am so in. Lixa smiled, her head resting on his shoulder. Outside the ship, in the silence of the nebula, the chronosphere's glow expanded, then contracted, steady, balanced, alive. In the cockpit, Nyx stood alone watching the readouts. The chronosphere's energy had stabilized. No more surges, no more feedback loops. Just quiet. She smiled to herself. So that actually worked, she said, sipping tea. Then her eyes narrowed as a blinking red dot appeared on the scanner. Her smile faded. Well, that didn't take long. Because far beyond the nebula, across a dozen sectors, something massive had awakened. Something dark. Something that had once shared a cargo container with Ray Dorman. Emperor Terran had found them, and he was bringing hell with him. High above Nebulon Prime, a monstrous silhouette blocked out the stars. The Imperial flagship, Eternal Dominion, drifted into orbit like a mechanical god, obsidian hull bristling with weapon platforms, gravitic cannons, and sensor arrays the size of cities. It didn't glide through space. It loomed, daring the universe to question its presence. Inside its vast command chamber, lined with crimson lights in polished black steel, Emperor Terran stood before a holographic star map. His reflection stared back from the display, no longer the skinny scavenger from Thurman 7, no longer the man who once bartered stolen food for bootleg whiskey. This version of Terran was a monument to obsession. Sleek, cybernetic implants lined his jaw, a glowing red. Optics replaced his eyes, and his once warm voice had become a metallic echo of hatred. Still no trace of the bearer, he growled. A nervous intelligence officer, an insectoid with trembling antennae, shook his head. Know your supremacy. We've swept 6 systems. The chronosphere's signature keeps shifting. Terran's fist slammed into the console. The glass-like surface cracked. No one flinched. They'd seen what happened to those who did. I didn't crawl out of a garbage heap to be outwitted by a glorified nap enthusiast, he snarled. That artifact chose me. It should have chosen me. I trained. I ascended. I carved an empire out of rust and fear. He stalked across the bridge, each footstep clanging with righteous fury. And instead, it bonds with Ray Dorman, a man whose greatest ambition was a second nap after breakfast. The room stayed silent. Find him, he whispered. Find him, or I will make your blood boil from the inside out. Behind him, the massive viewing window displayed the planet below Nebulon Prime. Peaceful, blissfully unaware. Terran narrowed his eyes. If he won't come to me, he murmured, I'll burn everything until he has no place left to hide. Meanwhile, aboard Nix's ship, Ray was having a vivid dream involving an endless supply of burgers and a gravity hammock that hugged back. Until Lexa shook him awake. Trouble, she said flatly. Ray blinked blearily. Cultists again. Tell them I already joined 5 religions this week. No. Worse. She handed him a tablet. The display showed a transmission from Nix, an intercepted data burst from an Imperial dreadnought. The source, Emperor Terran. Ray sat up fast. Wait, Terran from Thurman. The Terran. The very same, Nix's voice confirmed over the speaker. Your ex-cargo container neighbor. The one you used to swap counterfeit hot sauce packets with. Ray stared at the footage, Terran, in full Emperor regalia, declaring galactic martial law in pursuit of the rightful bearer. This has got to be a joke, he muttered. Last I saw him, he was living in a dumpster and arguing with a vending machine. Nix's voice was calm. He has risen aggressively. Industrial espionage, cult networking, cybernetic enhancements. Now commands an armada large enough to rival the Confederation. And he wants this, Ray asked, tapping his chest. The chronosphere pulsed gently under his fingers. He believes it was stolen from him, Lexa said, and he won't stop until he rips it from your corpse. Ray stood slowly. Of course. Because why wouldn't my old neighbor go full Darth megalomaniac over an ancient space orb? Nix appeared beside them, stepping from a shadow like she'd grown from it. Her expression was unreadable. We have to confront him. Ray's mouth opened, closed, opened again. I'm sorry, what now? You've completed the triad of unity, she said. The chronosphere is stable. That gives you an edge. But if we keep running, he'll chase us through every inhabited system. Civilians will die. Colonies will burn. Ray looked down. So you're saying this is my fault? No, she said gently. I'm saying it's your responsibility. Lexa took his hand. He won't expect you to face him. That gives us the element of surprise. And if I do confront him, Ray asked. You must deny him the chronosphere, Nix said. If he merges with it, he'll remake the galaxy in his image, and no one will be free. Ray fell silent. It was finally happening. All the cosmic nudging, the glowing chest, the prophetic marriage, the sacred burger. It was building to this. Showdown with a psycho-cyborg emperor. He exhaled. All right, let's say I'm in. What's the plan? Nix's eyes glowed. We infiltrate his flagship. Disguise you as a diplomatic envoy. Get close. Lix and I will handle system sabotage. While he's distracted, you deal with him. Ray raised a brow. You're sending me to fight the galaxy's most upgraded warlord armed with... What's sarcasm and fatigue? You have something more powerful, Nix said. Please don't say destiny. She smiled. I was going to say unpredictability. Ray snorted. Same thing. He looked at the stars through the viewport. Somewhere out there, Terran was waiting. Burning worlds, twisting fate, ready to destroy everything in pursuit of something Ray never wanted. Ray adjusted his jacket. Let's go piss off an emperor. The stolen Imperial shuttle glided silently toward the Eternal Dominion, its transponder broadcasting high-level clearance codes Nix had, according to her, politely extracted from a retired fleet admiral. Ray sat rigidly in the co-pilot seat, fidgeting in his ill-fitting Imperial officer uniform. The collar chafed his neck, the pants were too tight, and the chronosphere kept glowing like a disco ball beneath his shirt, threatening to blow the whole operation the moment someone sneezed. I look ridiculous, he muttered. You look official, Lixa corrected, adjusting the shoulder insignia. She sat beside him in crisp, imposing black armor, the lines of her violet body hidden beneath rank and steel. Her expression was cold and perfect, Imperial through and through. I feel like I'm about to get promoted to dead. Nick, sitting behind them in the navigation chamber, had taken a more humanoid appearance. Smooth, elegant, subtly shimmering skin, like midnight with embedded galaxies. Her voice was calm, confident, infuriating. The codes will get us through docking, she said. What happens after that is up to you. Wonderful, Ray muttered. I've never been good at after that. The shuttle cruised through the Dominion's docking field, passing rows of fighters, gunships, and atmospheric re-entry bombs the size of buses. Ray swallowed hard. One wrong move and they'd be atomized before Lixa could blink. Then miraculously a voice crackled over the comms. Shuttle E-17 access granted. Proceed to docking bay 7. The Emperor awaits. Ray flinched. Oh good, he's expecting us. As the ship touched down, Lixa reached out and grabbed Ray's wrist. Listen to me, Terran may look like a god, but he bleeds. He remembers you. Use that, stall him. Give us time to access the bridge's override systems. And if I screw up, Ray asked. She didn't smile. She didn't blink. You won't. The ramp hissed open. Ray stepped out into the cavernous hangar, surrounded by Imperial soldiers with glowing eyes and grim faces. He held his chin high and prayed the chronosphere wouldn't decide to zap someone just for sneezing too loudly. A high-ranking officer saluted him sharply. Commander Vaughn, your arrival is noted. The Emperor has requested a private audience. Commander Vaughn, Ray thought. Sure, close enough. He nodded, trying to look like he hadn't just nearly yawned himself into another dimension. 2 guards flanked him, escorting him through a long corridor lined with black obsidian walls and crimson banners depicting the Imperial sigil in abstract fire spiral surrounding a stylized eye. Ray couldn't help but mutter, yup, definitely screams healthy work culture. They reached the command bridge and the doors slid open. There, seated upon a throne of alloy and agony, was Emperor Tehran. Ray stopped cold. The man before him was no longer recognizable. His body was laced with cybernetic reinforcements, flexing chrome muscle overlays, mechanized tendons, energy conduits running under synthetic skin. His eyes glowed with pure red light, and a crown of thin metal filaments hovered over his shaved head, alive with static energy. But his voice, Ray Dorman, Ron sneered, rising slowly. The universe really has lost its mind. Ray managed a smile. Subteron, love what you've done with the place. Evil overlord meets high-end espresso machine. Tehran stepped forward, mechanical boots thudding against the steel floor. I remember you, the man who sold me spoiled cargo meat and claimed it was fermented. Ray shrugged. You said you like strong flavors. Now here you are, Terran said, circling him, wearing my uniform, walking my halls, carrying my power in your chest. Ray tightened his jacket over the chronosphere. Yeah, about that. It wasn't my idea. No, Terran hissed. It was the spheres, and it should have been me. Ray rolled his eyes. You really need to let this one go. It's been like, what, a couple years? I rebuilt my body from scrap, Terran snapped. I mastered gravitational warfare, conquered 6 systems, created an empire from nothing, all to be worthy of the chronosphere. And instead it bonds with you, the most useless man in the quadrant. First of all, rude. Second, technically accurate. Tehran's voice lowered. I can fix this mistake. My scientists can extract it. I'll tear it from you piece by piece if I must. Ray held up a finger. Small problem. That kills me. Collateral damage, Tehran said simply. He raised his hand. Hidden panels opened around the bridge. Soldiers stepped out, weapons drawn, all aimed at Ray. Ray sighed. Of course this was a trap. The chronosphere pulsed violently. Heat radiated from his chest. Terran took a step back, shielding his eyes. Ray grinned. You really should have let me finish my nap. Tehran lunged. Ray yanked open his jacket, revealing the glowing orb. It blazed like a miniature sun. The nearest guards flew back as if punched by a god. The bridge shuddered. Then something unexpected happened. Ray's jacket began to glow. Golden patterns flared along the seams. The threads pulsed. The fabric shimmered like woven starlight. The chronosphere's light didn't just reflect, it merged with the jacket, transforming the dingy, onion-stained relic into something divine. What? The hell, Ray whispered. Lixa's voice came through the comms in his ear. It's the mantle of the dreaming gods. The prophecy said it would awaken in the presence of the true bearer. You mean my jacket is a holy relic? The fabric solidified, rippling with energy. When Terran fired his plasma cannon, the jacket absorbed the beam, rippling like water, then returning to normal. Ray blinked. Okay, I take back everything I said about not doing laundry. Terran roared, charging. His cybernetic limbs lashed out with speed no human should have matched. Ray stumbled back, barely dodging a crushing blow. The chronosphere flared. Reality bent. Ray blinked, and suddenly he was behind Terran, not in front of him. His mind reeled. The sphere hadn't just protected him, it had shifted space. Terran spun, snarling. You don't even know what you're doing. Ray yawned. Exactly, which is why you're not ready. He reached out. The chronosphere blazed between them, 2 realities, 2 fates. For a moment, Ray saw everything: timelines where Terran ruled unchallenged. Timelines where Ray died in the marketplace. Timelines where no one had ever awakened the sphere. But this was the one where he lived, where he said no. The sphere responded. A shockwave erupted from Ray's chest, knocking Terran back across the bridge and into the throne. Systems shorted, alarms blared. The lights flickered out. Ray stumbled forward, panting. Not bad, for a guy who just wanted a burger. Terran groaned, half-conscious. You can't stop what's coming, No, Ray said, but I can nap through it. And then behind him, Nyx and Lixa emerged from the shadows. Systems are down, Nyx said. The Empire is finished. Ray adjusted his divine jacket. Cool, can we get food now? The Eternal Dominion was in free fall, systems failing, sirens, howling, soldiers fleeing. Terran lay slumped in the ruins of his throne, cybernetic implants sparking and twitching. His empire, forged through fire and circuitry, unraveled in real time. And in the center of the bridge, standing amid flickering consoles and collapsed pillars of command, was Ray Dorman. His yellow jacket, once a monument to laziness, sweat, and questionable fashion, now shimmered with golden energy, transformed by the chronosphere into a living mantle of cosmic potential. His hair was still messy, his shirt still wrinkled. He looked like a man who had accidentally wandered into godhood and was very confused by the dress code. Lisa approached, her expression unreadable. Behind her, Nyx floated inches above the deck, a trail of light following her every motion. You did it, Lixa said quietly. Ray blinked. What? You faced the bearer's trial, Nyx added. You conquered not with ambition, but with contradiction. The chronosphere has awakened fully. You are now its complete host. Right, Ray muttered. And does the full package come with a user manual, or at least a pause button? The chronosphere pulsed gently beneath his chest, an answer warm familiar. Ray could feel it now like a second heartbeat. No longer foreign. It was him. He was it. Tehran coughed behind them, his voice cracked and metallic. You don't understand what you carry. Ray turned. Buddy, I barely understand how to cook eggs without burning the pan. But I do know one thing. He stepped forward, jacket glowing. You wanted this thing so bad you burned half the galaxy chasing it. But the chronosphere doesn't respond to conquest. It responds to contentment. The cosmic secret isn't domination, it's detachment. Terran growled, You're a fool. Ray shook his head. Nah, I'm just tired. With a final surge of energy, Terran lunged, but the chronosphere flared in response, releasing a shockwave of golden force that halted the Emperor midair. His body froze, circuits overloaded. He collapsed in a heap unconscious. Ray looked down at him. Some people climb to the top because they think power will finally make them enough, he whispered. But you were always enough, Terran. You just didn't nap on it. Nyx raised her eyebrows. That may be the most profound nonsense I've ever heard. Ray turned yawning. Thanks, I try. 2 weeks later, Ray Dorman sat on a floating lounge chair in the middle of a crystalline ocean, sipping a colorful drink from a coconut-shaped cup with an umbrella in it. Above him, twin suns warmed the skies of Solara Prime, a planet remade by the chronosphere, into a perfect sanctuary world. Not utopia, not paradise, just comfortable. Around him stretched the Temple of Cosmic Chill, a sprawling resort-like palace, where monks meditated in hammocks and scholars debated while in hot tubs. Somewhere in the background, a choir was softly chanting the sacred mantra, Sleep now, snack later, stress never. Ray glanced sideways. Lixa reclined on the lounger beside him, violet skin glowing softly in the sunlight, her eyes closed in bliss. She wore a robe woven from stardust, gifted to her by a confederation of grateful species who now considered her a priestess of peace. He nudged her gently. Hey, you still thinking about galactic outreach stuff? Her eyes opened slowly, only a little. I was wondering if we should address the food shortages on the mining moons of Cyrun. Ray nodded. We could, or, hear me out, we could invent a burger that grows itself. She smiled. That's not how economics works. Ray smirked. It is now. The chronosphere pulsed softly. Around the planet, supply ships rerouted, crops adjusted, climate zones stabilized. All without Ray lifting a finger. Lixa reached for his hand. You've done well, you know. I didn't do anything, he replied. Exactly, she said, squeezing gently. And maybe that's what the galaxy needed. Elsewhere inside a vast surveillance chamber carved into the moon of Nitharis 4, a dozen projection screens showed images of Ray eating, napping, occasionally making profound cosmic statements while half asleep. Nyx stood at the center of it all, wearing a robe woven with cosmic code. Beside her, a production assistant from the Galactic Narrative Broadcast Network adjusted audio levels. The ratings, he said, barely containing excitement, are unbelievable. Sleep or Die is now the most watched show in all quadrants. Even the Andraxian hive minds are streaming it simultaneously. Nyx nodded. As expected, reality prefers irony. She turned to face the camera. Begin the next phase, which is the assistant asked. Nyx smiled. Merchandising. Back on Solara Prime, Ray wandered into the temple courtyard, now filled with pilgrims, scholars, and wayward warlords turned baristas. Children played with floating plush versions of the chronosphere. T-shirts with slogans like, Nap like a god and bearer of burgers were hot sellers. A tall alien with tentacles offered him a burger for blessings. Ray took it. Thanks, friend. I bless you with whatever this sauce is. It's tangy. The alien wept with joy. Lixa met him by the meditation pool. You do realize the entire galaxy thinks you're an enlightened being now. Ray nodded, which is funny considering I'm just a guy who likes quiet rooms and breakfast at noon. She kissed his cheek, and that's exactly why they trust you. One night later, Ray stood on the edge of a mountaintop staring up at the stars. The chronosphere glowed dimly, peacefully. He felt it now, not as a burden, but as a presence, a friend. Still don't know why you picked me, he murmured. A familiar voice spoke inside his mind. Because you weren't looking for me. Ray chuckled. Fair. He looked down at his jacket, still tattered, still old, still sacred. With a sigh, he lay down on a stone bench, jacket wrapped around him. The stars twinkled. He closed his eyes. The epilogue you didn't expect across the galaxy, cosmic forces gathered. One by one, the other 6 artifacts began to pulse with life, echoes of the chronosphere's awakening rippling through time and space. On a derelict station orbiting a black hole, the chronoblade lit up. On a forgotten ocean world, the voice prism sang for the first time in 10 millennia. And in the heart of a dying sun, something massive opened its eyes. But none of that mattered just yet. Because on Solara Prime, under twin suns, Ray Dorman, bearer of reality, wielder of the sacred jacket, cosmic nap champion, was finally getting some damn sleep. And for now, that was enough.